this is kind of part two of inertia. I kind of talked about hills in the last one. So this is the fifth video in forces that resist you. Now, on a bicycle. Now, the best way to overcome inertia is basically to reduce your weight and to reduce the weight of your bike. Now, this is important. There's lots of fringe science to human biology. And even if it's fat, there's no real dead weight on your body so much as there is with mechanical things. So I'm sorry, but this is the truth. There is such a thing as mechanical dead weight. And mechanical dead weight is absolutely, unarguably, completely useless on a bike. So a bike that's heavier because of older technology, etc., is useless, which means that it is always worth it, even if it's just 100 grams. Less than that, I'd say that it's worth it if you can save less than that over the whole bike, but just on one component. Don't stress over that. Getting a lighter seat, it doesn't matter too much if you can't also get lighter bars and lighter pedals and other stuff. Anyways, but mechanical weight disadvantages are huge. And basically, you're definitely going to go faster for who you are with better technology and with a lighter bike. So please understand that that can also be very encouraging. You know, this bike here is 28 total pounds. This road bike with the red tape on it. And 28 pounds, 7 pounds of that is literally in the wheels. Now the tires do have some tires tube sealing in them, but 7 pounds of wheels is a lot, and that's rotational inertia, so it really slows me down. And my CAD 12 is it's about 3 pounds for the wheels in total, about 3 pounds, which is less than half the weight of these wheels. Okay, plus the overall weight of the bike is 10 pounds lighter than this bike, so it moves a lot quicker, and it's a lot more encouraging to ride than this old thing. It's right here. It's in the shop right now because it's CAD 12 is in the shop right now. But in any case, that's why I like having a backup bike. It's very nice and fun to ride a backup bicycle, so that you can really never have to stop training because of a stupid little incident. But reducing mechanical weight, even if it's just a pound, even if you are 30 pounds overweight, it will still help you out. It just will. It's just like losing a pound of fat. It's expensive. It costs money. It's not free. But really, nor is working out on the bike. So, you spend some to gain some, or really to lose some weight, so that you could gain some speed. And I'll be honest with you that it does definitely matter to lose mechanical weight. The least amount of weight that that you can shave off will always help. Okay? And fat does do some positive things for you. It gives you extra energy if you eat correctly. And actually, if you eat nothing, fat is not the first resource your body pulls from, and you can talk a long time about why your body builds fat, and it's that people eat less but not nothing during seasons where they have less food to eat, and that fat helps can help maintain your body weight, which is healthy, but it's not itself the best source. For example, fruits and vegetables, you actually only get a few seasons out of the year. The rest of the year, what it used to be, is that fruits and vegetables just didn't exist the rest of the year, and all you could eat was meat. Okay, it was meat, or it was like grains or something. So meat and grains both turn out today to be some of the best food you can eat. Maybe some fats in there, saturated fats, And maybe some unsaturated fats from tree nuts, like particularly the winter and the spring, where you still have lots of nuts that exist to eat. And you could save nuts for that part of the year, which is interesting, since eating unsaturated fats tends to spark the burning of human fat. Okay, and also eating a little bit of protein, and also eating perhaps some grains. So some protein from some animal meat and some grains. It's a very primal diet. Okay, but yet it works to burn fat. It shaves fat off your body. So 40% of your calories from carbs and 30-30 is a pretty good diet. And that's kind of why. Okay, it's because it's what you eat when your body is actually eating overall a little bit less calories during the year. Okay, and so that's what you kind of want to simulate. Um, that will help you lose fat, and losing fat is huge with inertia because it'll help you go up hills faster, both because of inertia and because of hill travel, which is its own little thing. Distance up over time is huge. Okay, it's basically multiplied out by 10, so it's 10 times harder to go up than it is to go forward. Okay, it's about 10 times harder to go up than forward. You know, you go about twice as far, 10 times as far forward as you can up, which is why, percentage of incline as far as average speed goes really messes up your average speed. That's why average speed needs to be within the same route. Because if we do average speed during different routes every day, you're going to really lose focus. Which doesn't mean you should do the same route every day. It just means you should do the same route every couple of weeks if you don't have a watt meter. Again, many of us do not, because even cheap ones, if they're efficient and good, they're still like $1,000. So, anyways, final words on inertia. Fastest land speed record is 163 miles per hour, but it is on a bike drafting something else, taking out the biggest force normally, which is wind. If you take away air resistance, you go much faster. Could you do 163 miles per hour? Probably not. Probably couldn't even do 100. And the reason is, this guy did that much speed over a pretty limited distance. Now, the guy who did it, I believe, was an athlete. But he may or may not have been a world-class performing athlete. And that is because communication and skills with your brakes and whatnot, and timing skills, are more important, really, than overall power with those kinds of world records. And so he was on a team, and that team built a car. The car, I believe, that broke that land speed record was capable of going 200 miles an hour, so not much faster than that, but that was much faster than the previous world record of 156, so they figured, let's just get it up into the 160s, and we'll worry about making our car faster in the future. Because the car, I think, only would have topped out at 180 or even 200 miles an hour, somewhere in there. It's not really a car, it's kind of a car motorcycle thing with a big, huge fin on the back that helps the cyclist go faster. And the only rule is that the cyclist couldn't touch the car, and that there had to be some sort of photography to prove he wasn't touching the car to get up to that speed. So most people can't do that. And if you go out, you might be able to go 30 or 40, and it might be fun and easy to go 30 or 40 or even 50 or 60 miles an hour on a bicycle while drafting a big truck or something. But that's nothing compared to the world record, and it's not even decent. Decent is 100 miles an hour, okay, which is the highest, which I believe is the fastest amateur record this guy did on a normal road, and the length of road was a limited stretch. I believe he also may or may not have used a limited bicycle. I think he might have used a bike with limited gears. The 163 mile per hour record was done with a big gear and a small gear, and the small gear was actually connected to another big gear, which was then connected to the small gear of the rear wheel. So it's incredible gear advantage. Overcoming the type of inertia that he did, plus the rolling resistance, which it adds up once you go over 120 miles an hour. Your rolling resistance is going to be several hundred watts. Okay, you're looking at maybe 600 watts or so. It's linear though, so you can just keep going up by 20 watts per, 10 miles an hour or whatever it is for your weight with your bike. He did it on an upright bike, which kind of proves that upright bikes and your average recumbent bike are equal in terms of speed, because there's a recumbent bike has the world record without drafting, but yet an upright bike has the world record drafting. So but it's apples and oranges really, because it's really all apples, because they're all bicycles and it doesn't matter as long as you're on a bike. But the best so overcoming inertia is very, very difficult to do in a race. And that is why you don't want other people to get momentum on you. But at the same time, you don't want to fight to get that aerodynamic drag all the time. Like I said earlier, sprinting to catch up to a bus for given routes might lower my average speed, because I expend so much extra energy sprinting in order to keep up with that bus. Even if that bus doesn't have any stops, like it's a truck or something on the highway. I expend a lot of energy to get up to that. And that fatigues my body. So there's still air resistance sometimes when you're off the back end of a truck. You gotta be careful. You do want to make sure that I think I talked about this already, that you're riding on the left side of the truck, alright, to be able to see oncoming traffic. You gotta make sure that you're already ridden on the road. And finally, well, that was a video before, so whatever. But just jumping back to inertia, inertia is why downhill sometimes you'll see big speed differences between people that have relatively the same aerodynamics. One person's accelerating themselves, the other person does not, especially over the top of a hill in rolling hill conditions. So you want to go ahead and sprint into a downhill. Get yourself up to a nice fast speed, and then let the downhill continue to carry you at that speed. That will maximize your average speed. Okay, so if at the top of the hill you're going 25, and you do from 25 to 40 miles an hour, and then allow the hill to kind of carry you from there. You're still pedaling fast, but the other thing is gear limitations. 90 RPM on a 5411 limits out at about 35, 40 miles an hour. So going faster than that, you have to have super high RPM, which for many people is taxing on the system. So it's best to get up to 40 miles an hour as fast as you can when you go into a downhill. That way the hill doesn't have to do much work to get you up to 50 or even 55, 60 miles an hour. Okay? And if you have a really tall gear, taller than that, or if you're capable of high RPM, you can just keep pedaling on and easily get yourself to 55 miles an hour in most downhills in most places. So that's very fun. But you don't want to waste the downhill completely by not pedaling. Kind of wise, you don't want to waste a bunch of energy going over 45 miles an hour, because pedaling at that speed wastes lots of energy. And the thing is, it's exponential. So energy that you're doing there goes into 1 mile per hour. Could have been going 2 or 3 more miles per hour on the flats. Or really, if it's 1 mile per hour, 1 mile per hour between 23 and 24 miles an hour is a much bigger difference in terms of your time than 54 to 55 miles per hour. Okay, moving on. So inertia is basically going to resist you every time you stop. That's why on my average speed video I explain a little bit about this. When you stop at a stoplight, you're wasting lots of momentum. In a race or even in a group ride that's competitive, you're going to have little waves of riders, okay? And those waves are going to do two things. One, you're going to lose a little bit of the aerodynamics when you're in the back, because there's going to be times when there's a gap. And number two, you're going to be losing speed to inertia, and that's actually why this happens, because of what happens at the front. So just remember, inertia is very important, and lowering your weight and learning when and when not to use inertia to your advantage is really going to promote a big part of your speed.